Can you transform a truck into something that turns heads without losing any of its capabilities?
Normally when people think about building a truck, they always jump to the extreme. Too big of wheels and tires, too wide, too tall, hard to get in and out of, making it less of a capable truck and more of something to look at. In this video, we're gonna try and make something that still stands out, but doesn't make all those sacrifices. So we got this.
And by no sacrifices, we mean none. Zero, zip, not a one. Whatever this truck could pull, however far this truck could go, whatever this truck could do stock, it's our goal to take away none of those capabilities, only to make it look significantly better. Let's figure out if this is possible and take a look at the stock truck we got.
So we're starting out with this bone stock 2019 Ram 1500. Now it is the Sport, so it's got the color matched bumpers and the grille and all that, and it already has been tinted. Other than that, it's a bone stock boring truck.
So now that you know the truck we're working on and the goal we have for it, it's time to pull it into the shop and get to work.
All right, we're gonna start under the hood because right now everything's easy to get at, which means cold air intake and our Pulsar tuner, because this goes under the hood as well. Normally we do some sort of gimmick with these builds, right? We're gonna try using cheap parts, or we're gonna use the most expensive parts. We're not doing either on this truck. We're gonna use the best quality. Maybe it will be the most expensive. It definitely won't be the cheapest, but it might not always be the most expensive. It's just gonna be what's best for the truck in general. Good brand name products that we're gonna trust to use, that we know aren't gonna cause issues down the road. So first things first, cold air intake. We're going with Injen for this build. So let me get it out of here. It's a cold air intake. There's not a lot of parts and pieces, but it is a sealed box unit. Now we used this a few months ago when we built Tyler's Silverado. If you haven't seen that video, it's on our channel. And we were really impressed with the quality of the intake and how it helped the truck perform. So that's what we're gonna do with this Ram as well. And then we're pairing it with the Pulsar. This bad boy is actually gonna plug right into our ECU, but it's gonna leave no trace of being tuned, so that when you take it to the dealership for warranty work, they won't even know it's in there. Not the cheap parts, not the most expensive, but brands we've used, brands we've grown to trust, and we know are gonna work well in this environment. So, oh, I should probably look at the instructions before I get too far here. Oh, I feel like the hose clamp's got plenty of room. Good Lord. We do need to swap our grommets over. Throw a little lube on them. Ah, ta-da. And it just snaps in the factory spot. There she goes. That easy. All right, guys, so like I mentioned, for the tuner, we're going with the Pulsar. This is gonna be a direct plug into our ECU under the hood. It works all on its own. You don't need anything else, but we got the power pack. So we're gonna actually pair it with an Insights CTS3 Insight from Edge here, so we can monitor everything. The Pulsar, as it sits, you can actually use your steering wheel controls and change everything with your factory controls. For the ease of use of who we're building this for, in the first place, we're just gonna use the monitor system. That way you don't accidentally put it into tune mode or anything like that. It's all through the Edge monitor. Plus, it's a lot of cool gauges you get to look at. So that makes it even more fun. Okay. It's this simple. We line them up. Our tan matches our tan, our gray matches our gray. They click together. And then our hardware, our mounting, or replacement mounting hardware that came with the Pulsar is gonna hold everything together. This is actually a really easy install. So if there's any mods that you should feel comfortable with doing yourself, it's these. I mean, an intake and a tuner, pretty hard to screw up. All right, that's gonna wrap up our under the hood projects, which means we can move on to under the truck stuff, like our lift kit and our exhaust that we're putting on. So what we've got here is a 3-inch lift kit from a company you probably haven't heard us talk about in a while, and that's Skyjacker. Why am I using a Skyjacker lift on a 2019 Ram? At 3 inches of height, there's not a lot of options for these trucks. They're all pretty much the same. However, Skyjacker is giving us a fully welded, fabricated upper control arm with a correct ball joint angle that is a serviceable ball joint. If you know anything about these new Ram 1500s, they come stock with a plastic upper control arm. So there's our factory upper control arm. As you can see, the Superlift one is going to have the ball joint actually clocked so that it'll be straight up and down with the control arm down like that. Whereas the factory one, control arm almost needs to be pointed upwards for the ball joint to be flat. Non-serviceable ball joint, clearly serviceable here, greasable here, serviceable down here. If it goes bad, you can pop it out, replace it. This one's got a plastic cap on it, absolute junk. Our Superlift ones are gonna be much better. And it's got the provision for our ABS sensor, which is nice. We don't have to run a zip tie around the control arm. We can just pop it in just like the factory one had right there. As far as the front lift goes, we've got a combination preload spacer, which is gonna go underneath the spring, and top hat spacer, giving us a full 3 inches of lift in the front. In the rear, we've got these 2-inch spring spacers, because it's a Ram, it's coil sprung rear suspension, but we've also got their brand new Adventure Series Resi shocks in the rear. So gonna give us a really nice ride quality out of this truck, much better than the factory. Oh, Rams, you gotta take so much apart too. Few parts, but it's actually kind of a complicated lift. I wouldn't recommend actually putting this one in on your own because it's got the preload spacers, means the strut's gotta come apart. That requires specialty tools. You don't wanna use the do-it-yourself kits you can get at the auto parts store. You want professional tools for this. So this is the one thing where you're probably gonna wanna take it to a professional. All right, that's it for tearing down the front end. We've got the struts out, but next step is gonna be taking these apart, putting the preload spacer in, and then getting our top strut hat bolted onto this, and then we can actually start putting this back together. It's going pretty quickly. Why would you not just make your top hat bigger, thus more lift? Why the preload spacer? The reason for that is if you add too much height to here, your ball joint angles and your CV axle angles are gonna be past their operating range. So you're gonna put too much stress on those components. So what we do instead is they put a preload spacer in here. Now what this is gonna do, it's gonna preload the spring in here with more tension, and the spring will have less sag in it because it's got the preload on it, giving us a little bit more lift when it's put back into the truck. So you're not gonna notice a ton of ride quality difference, but it will be stiffer up front. We gotta get her in and get her started. This is the fun part. This is usually a 2-person process. This frame suddenly looks a lot nicer than when we started. That's odd. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up the front end. We'll tighten our upper control arms when it's on the ground, so that it's at operating angles and everything, but everything else under here is all tight, all ready to go. So we're gonna jump into the back. And because this is a coil spring truck, it is not as straightforward as our typical leaf spring. So we got a little bit of work to do back there.
Now when it comes to the rear suspension, if you guys don't have a Ram, you're going to be dealing with leaf spring suspension in the rear and not coil springs. So it'll be a little easier because all you'll have to do is add a lift block, U-bolts, and rear shocks instead of having to do everything we're doing right now. So remember, this actually might be an easier install for some of you.
Okay, let's get our fancy rear shocks. That's gonna wrap up the lift kit. Things like the track bar and the rear trailing arms get tightened up while the truck's on the ground. And we've got a lot more stuff to do with the truck in the air. But as far as the lift kit goes, we're done. So we've got bump stop spacers back here. coil spring spacer here, in our new Skyjacker Adventure Series Resi shocks right here. All of this stuff, guys, is just bolted in. We didn't modify anything, so this could all come out and the truck can go back to stock. I guess we can run up front and show you what's going on up there too, and just kind of recap what encapsulates this lift. Bailey's got to get out of my way first. All right, so again, up front, we've got our new Skyjacker upper control arms, greasable ball joints, fabricated control arm, way better than the stock crap. And then our preload spacer and our top strut spacer is gonna round out our lift kit. There is no diff drop here. And again, no modifications. So if you save your upper control arms, your stock upper control arms, you could put this all back to stock, take it out, and you'd never know the difference. That's all there is to this kit, guys. It's only 3 inches, but that's gonna give us enough room and enough height to, you know, make a noticeable difference so that it's not just like every other truck in the parking lot. As long as it's in the air, let's get to the exhaust because it's a Hemi. Let's make it sound like one. All right, guys, so we got the exhaust all laid out, and we are going with AWE again on this truck. We use these guys time and time again, and there's good reason behind that. It's a high quality exhaust. At the end of the day, it's US sourced stainless steel, mandrel bent in the US exhaust. Their muffler 180 technology just blows my mind every time. It has a great sound output and no drone at highway speeds. This kit, we opted for the chrome tips, and every exhaust comes with a blow pop. So like, why would you not buy it just for that? Anyway, we're gonna rip out the stock crappy exhaust and put in this beautiful stainless 3-inch and make this Hemi sound like a Hemi. Oh, I can't get at this one. I am not about to move all those wiring harnesses. Let's see if we can get this one to pop. You think it still needs this broken ground strap? It's in great shape. I need my lube. Come on. There she goes. All right, guys, so the exhaust is wrapped up. But we're not quite done underneath the truck and get it off the lift. This truck comes with a decent molded in running board. It doesn't look terrible, but I mean, fixed running boards are kind of a grandpa style. And now that the truck is lifted a little bit, I mean, this thing gives you maybe 3 inches of drop from the door sill. So we're gonna rip these off and we're gonna replace them with these. These are gonna be power steps from Amp Research. Amp just knocks this out of the park as far as the install goes and ease of everything about them. The wiring is the best part about these things. It is so simple, it's one harness. It's gonna take me 2 to 3 hours to put these in. And when you're not getting in and out of the truck, they're hiding up out of the way. If you wanna spend more money, you absolutely can. If you wanna spend less money, you can go get some of the other brands that take 4 days of wiring and 52 miles and an electrical engineering degree to figure out. That's not what we're doing. So we're gonna rip these stock running boards off, get these thrown on, and you're gonna see just how easy these are to install. I love these things. Absolutely love them. All right, guys, we got our brackets on, but clearly our running board is not going to clear our lift arm as we're sitting, which means we need to put it down on the wheels. So let's take a look at those because we're not putting it back on stock wheels. What we've got here are a set of 20x9 zero offset TIS 567 BMs, which stands for the black and milled. So it's a gloss black finish with a milled edge. And these are exposed lug, but they're also dual drilled. Look at that. You just cover up the ones you don't want to use. And then we're pairing that with this 295/65 R20 Toyo Open Country AT3. This is essentially a 34.5 by 11.5. Call it that. It's a little bit bigger than that. It's just undersized from a 35/12.5 that it's going to fit cleanly on the truck, clear everywhere, and it's not gonna be so ballooned on this 9 wide that it's gonna stick way outside the fender, or we're gonna get some weird uneven wear. It's a nice narrow tire and a great tire. It's 3-peak mountain snowflake rated. We're gonna throw these on, get it on the ground, and then we can get back to putting our steps together. If we would have went with a 12.5, we'd be actually hitting our upper control arm. There's just enough space between the upper control arm and the tire that I can fit my hand in between there. It's still an aggressive looking tire. It's a nice looking wheel. So it's gonna give us that off-road look to complement the lift without sticking way out and throwing things down the side of the truck. It's that happy medium right there.
Now that we got the truck off the lift, we have way more room to work on the steps. AMP steps are more expensive, but they're also worth every penny. AMP actually has a patent that allows them to plug their steps right into the OBD2 port, meaning you don't have to set up any annoying magnets or run a bunch of wires that are definitely eventually gonna break. They're just plug and play, making a step install go from like 42 hours to less than 4.
Way more access now. Look how easy that is. A step that doesn't smack me in the back of the shin. And it goes away when I get out. All right guys, so we got the truck back from alignment. Lift is done, wheels and tires are on. All the performance is done. Time to turn our attention to the bed. It's really not gonna do anything other than haul groceries. We even have the old grocery don't go too far in front of the bed stick. What we don't have is a high quality tonneau cover, so that's what we're gonna put on. We're gonna use the MX4 from BAK Industries. We're not gonna do a roll up on this one. We could, but we live up north where snow load is a real thing and a hard tonneau cover makes a world of difference. It's also gonna help our fuel economy. Again, a vinyl roll-up would do the same thing, but we're more worried about security and snow load. So we're going with this, but it shouldn't take long at all. We clip them, we clip them. Now our bed cover stays tight. We wanna go even further open. Pull our cord, we flip it all the way up. We've got our rubber on here, it sits against the back window. We can take our little stands, loosen these, slide that down on there. Boom, we have full 99% of our bed access. That's locked up there, that's not gonna do anything. And now we can drive with our bed open if we need to. Never be open further than that so that you can get at your groceries. Or the kid's stroller. The last piece of our puzzle here is to install our CTS3 monitor in the truck so that we can actually make use of our tuner that we put in here. So that's gonna involve me pulling down this A-pillar. In addition to this plugging into the OBD2, if you remember, so do our steps. So we had to get an OBD2 splitter. All this is gonna do is give us 2 ports out of our main OBD2. This does not come with any of the kits. We literally got this on Amazon. It was like $12 or something like that. You will need one of these if you're gonna be running a tuner and steps at the same time because they come out of 1 port. Boom. Done. So there you have it, guys. A truck that's gonna turn heads without any compromises. It's not too tall, it's not too wide, it's not too loud, it's just right, fully capable to do what you need a truck to do every single day. And at the end of the day, this truck can perform just as good as it did stock. And the best part is, none of this changed anything. You can actually take this back to stock if for some crazy reason you wanted to, trade it in, it's a lease truck, something like that. It's all reversible very easily in the same amount of time it took to put it on. All right, so now we got it out on the road. Even though we lifted it, we put bigger wheels and tires on it, it really doesn't drive any different. And it has full turning radius. Throttle response, because of our tuner and our intake and exhaust, is still the same. Really, the only way you can tell that we really did anything from inside of here is the exhaust note when we accelerate. Other than that, I mean, this thing drives just as good as it did stock. There's no excessive road noise from the tires because they're not sticking way outside of the fenders, and we didn't do anything aggressive as far as tread. We got a good all-season tire that's inside the fenders with a good wheel that just looks better than the stock one. So drivability, it's great. It's actually, the MPG, the average, is going up the more we drive. So I'd call that a win. In better news, even if you don't have a Ram, this is easily replicable if maybe you have a Ford. Or maybe you have a Chevy. All the parts are available for all the big 3 trucks right here at CustomOffsets.com.